not believe in any conspiracy theories. I understand not all of them, not most of them, but you don't believe in any conspiracy theories? You just think the government's just batting 1,000 and telling us the whole truth?
When we talk about conspiracy theories, oftentimes we're talking about stories that people gravitate towards. The Black community's always had a vacuum of information, afforded to them. So the stories that are being promulgated, we could call them conspiracy theories to some degree, but they're also potentially a survival mechanism.
Absolutely, and that's the key part of it is survival. So when it comes to things like conspiracy theories around health or more social issues, that vein of racism is still present. We hear a piece of information that is either so true that it hurts or so personal that it's painful to accept it as it is, and so we make it more comfortable for ourselves. And I think conspiracy theories are just that. They're a tool of comfort and safety that people use to manage all this information that's coming into their system that just feels too big or too raw.
Are there things that are specific in the Black community that are more apt to take hold because of the history that Black people have had in the country?
So there are a lot when it comes to health, especially physical health in the Black community. With the pandemic and the vaccine, there are theories about the vaccine being a tool of biological warfare. So a lot of people believe that it's meant to emasculate Black men by sterilizing them and killing Black people overall. There are a lot of theories about whether this vaccine is being put in the Black and Brown communities to really use us as lab rats, as testing subjects, and there are a lot of theories around why the vaccine is being pushed so readily now versus months ago, how quickly it came about, and the misinformation I think the country entirely has about the vaccine is sort of heightened in the Black community.
And that's a tricky thing, right? There's so much that's actually true about the way this society is unfair towards Black people. And the pandemic put into, bare relief that Black and Brown communities specifically were hit harder by it.
So with the pandemic, we're seeing all these different stories around the world of how it's impacting different kinds of people. But we're also in our own homes and communities seeing people die and seeing people that are greatly impacted, whether it's from losing their jobs or losing their homes, not having access to the vaccine, not having access to hospital care when they need it. And I think that just sort of reinforces the us and them mentality that we're often put into as Black people. So we want to stay very much secluded in our own community with our own people and our own ideas and meaning systems around what's happening and why it's happening versus what we're seeing from the mainstream, because it could be harmful.
So does that make it a little more hard to dispel notions in the Black community?
It does. Yeah, I don't blame Black people who believe in some of these theories because things that have happened throughout history sounds like they're conspiracies, but they're true.
Like how the father of modern gynecology performed horrifying experiments on enslaved women without anesthesia. Or how hundreds of Black men with syphilis were subjects in the notorious Tuskegee experiment. They thought they were being treated, but were actually given placebos so the government could study the long-term effects over 40 years.
Even in West Indian countries, like in Jamaica, they had the Green Bay killings, which is similar. They lured a lot of men to a certain site for jobs and executed all of them on the spot.
Wow.
So things like that you hear and it sounds fantastical, but they're true.
And like all of that wasn't bad enough, some racist studies have further ingrained discrimination into the fabric of society.
The Bell Curve is a book that is written about why Black people aren't as intelligent as other people. It talks about African culture and a lot of Afrocentric ideas that are misinterpreted and used as, again, proof as to why Black people aren't intelligent people.
Interesting.
And that book was touted for so long and used as rationale for how school systems were set up and how zoning laws were put in place to keep Black people in a certain environment because we deserved that based off this factual research.
And that factual research, not true.
Not true.
So this mistrust of authority has been building, and it's paved the way for the COVID-19 conspiracies in the Black community now. But are these conspiracies taking a stronger hold than in other cross-sections of American society?
So research is showing that Black people are getting vaccinated at higher rates than other communities, despite skepticism.
Higher.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are not getting vaccinated are white Republican people. And that's a very big contrast what you're seeing in the news, which is Black people don't want the vaccine, Black people don't want, to believe it's true. But in reality, we're getting vaccinated at higher rates than others are. The Black community is not a monolith. We have people in the community who are always going to dispel those kinds of theories and people who are always going to believe in those theories. And that's just the nature of human beings, really.
It's just wild that just thinking about Black individuals as individuals is like a radical and necessary thought.
Right. We've always been, but I think lumping us together makes it easier to justify the things that are marginalizing and discriminatory.